The sports hall wasn't supposed to be open. Everyone knew that, by the way. The lights hummed wrong, half of them flickering with that sickly, uneven glow that made everything look colder than it was. The floor smelled like rubber and dust, the kind that sticks to your tongue, and the echo from the far corner carried too long, as if the building itself didn't want to hold sound. One security guard sat on a plastic chair near the entrance, scrolling through his phone with the defeated posture of someone who'd worked too many double shifts. Everything was dead, routine, predictable, until a girl in a university hoodie slipped on a damp patch near the vending machine and let out a sharp, involuntary shit that cracked through the hall like a whistle. Her water bottle flew from her hand, ricocheted off the wall, and rolled all the way to the center of the court, spinning to a stop in front of someone's shoe. The guard's head snapped up. Two boys near the lockers laughed, too loud, too sudden, at the wrong moment, and then cut themselves off when they realized who the bottle had landed beside. The figure jogging alone on the far court stopped mid-stride, the squeak of his shoe dragging a jagged line across the floor. Sweat-darkened hair, black tank top, arm tattoo visible even from here. Someone whispered his name too early, too careless. "Is that Jungkook?" And immediately regretted it, clapping a hand over their own mouth like they'd broken some unwritten rule. The guard stood, slow but certain, the chair legs scratching loudly behind him. Phones appeared and disappeared, half raised, lowered again, screens glowing in pockets like guilty secrets. Jungkook didn't react, not to the bottle, not to the voices, not to the sudden glitch in the air, but the rhythm of his steps had already died. The guard cleared his throat once, the sound ugly and dry, then added, "Sir, the hall's closed." Not angry, not starstruck, just procedural. A few people near the exit pretended to keep stretching, staring at their shoelaces while sneaking glances at him through hair and reflections in the glass. Someone dropped a protein bar. The crinkle echoed too loud. Someone else stifled a laugh that turned into a cough. The girl who'd slipped tried to retrieve her bottle, hesitated, froze halfway down. The guard walked closer, each step making the atmosphere fold in on itself. "You can't be in here," he said, voice flat as the fluorescent lights. And even though no one said anything else, everyone felt it. The shift, the wrongness, the sense that this wasn't just a late-night workout anymore. It was something people weren't sure they should be seeing, and definitely weren't supposed to catch him doing. Phones lifted again, not fully, just enough. A boy near the benches whispered, "Oh my God," too loud, too late. Jungkook finally turned his head, not toward the guard, but toward the cluster of faces pretending not to watch him. The training stopped. The night tilted. Something had already gone wrong, and the room knew it before he did. The guard didn't raise his voice, but the hall reacted anyway. Benches creaked as people shifted. The vending machine hummed louder, as if trying to drown out the moment. And someone near the emergency exit whispered, "Don't look," while staring directly at him. Jungkook stepped away from the center line, just half a stride, but the movement hit the crowd like a cue, making 3 phones tilt upward at once, before jerking back down as if burned. A boy in a red track jacket tried to pretend he was filming his own shoes, but the camera lens kept drifting toward Jungkook's shoulder. His friend elbowed him hard, muttering, "Stop, dude." But the whisper carried, bouncing off the walls. A girl tied her hair into a ponytail, with hands shaking too visibly, her eyes never leaving the tattoo on his arm. The guard approached, each footstep marked by that sticky rubber squeak, and said, "Training hours ended an hour ago," like a teacher scolding a child, not a global celebrity breaking a curfew. Jungkook didn't argue. He didn't nod either. He just breathed, slow, as if deciding whether that counted as compliance. Someone by the bleachers dropped a gym bag. The zipper clanged on the floor, and another girl gasped like it had been a warning shot. 2 teenagers who'd been stretching before suddenly scrambled upright, bumping into each other, one hissing, "Is it actually him?" The other shushing too late, far too late. The security guard's radio crackled in his hand, a burst of static that made everyone flinch, and he spoke into it softly, but not softly enough. "Yeah, it's him. No, he's still inside." The words weren't meant to be heard, but they were. A man wiping down a treadmill froze mid-swipe, cloth dangling from his hand. A woman near the lockers took a step back, then forward again, confused, unsure if leaving made her part of the story or avoiding it. Phones glowed in pockets, screens half lit like restless eyes. Jungkook finally looked toward the exit, not dramatically, just a small shift of focus, and that was enough for the girl who had dropped her bottle earlier to choke out a quiet, strained laugh, the kind people make when they're terrified they're doing something wrong. The guard gestured toward the door with a short, impatient flick of his wrist. Let's go. Not rude, not impressed, just procedural. But the hall was no longer a hall. It was a trap of eyes, angles, reflected images. People weren't breathing right. Nobody knew whether to clear a path or pretend they didn't see him at all. And the result was worse. A scattered half formation of bodies, trying to look natural while failing in sync. Jungkook didn't move yet. And the longer he didn't, the more the moment thickened into something that could no longer be undone. The path to the exit never formed. It just warped. People shifting in jittery half steps that didn't align, like they were all responding to different instructions. A boy in a sleeveless shirt tried to step aside, misjudged the distance, and bumped straight into Jungkook's shoulder before stumbling back with a strangled, sorry shit. Loud enough to echo, quiet enough to sound accidental. It wasn't. The contact snapped something in the room. 3 girls gasped at once, one choking on her gum, another fumbling her phone so badly it flipped in her hands before she trapped it against her stomach like contraband. The guard moved faster now, not running, but striding with a clipped rhythm that announced this had escalated beyond closed facility and into contain the scene. His radio crackled again, a voice saying something garbled but urgent, and people reacted to the noise like it was directed at them. One guy dropped into a squat stretch just to pretend he wasn't watching, then immediately regretted it because now he was eye level with Jungkook's shoes. A girl in leggings stepped backward without looking and crashed into a stack of spare mats. The crash wasn't loud, but it sounded wrong. Too accidental to be ignored, too clumsy to be intentional. Someone whispered, "I can't believe this," and someone else whispered back, "Don't say his name." But the warning came too late, not because anyone had shouted it, but because the whisper itself felt like confirmation. Phones were out again, not raised fully, not safe, just hovering, shaking slightly, screens casting pale circles on cheeks and necks. The kind of filming people do when they know they shouldn't. Jungkook finally took a step, not toward the door, not toward the guard, just a step, and it sent a visible ripple through the hall. People shifted, as if bracing for impact from a sound that hadn't happened yet. The girl with the ponytail fumbled her locker lock, digits slipping, spinning the dial too many times in panic. The clack, clack, clack of the metal echoed across the room, sharp and humiliating. A man wiping down a weight machine froze again, staring straight ahead like he was afraid to blink the wrong way. And then came the slip that tipped everything sideways. A boy near the water fountain raised his phone higher than the rest. Not fully, but enough. And the tiny click of the power button hitting record cut through the air like a spark against fuel. Nobody said anything, but everyone noticed. Jungkook's shoulders stiffened a fraction. The guard swore under his breath. A girl whispered, "Stop filming." But her friend shook her head, eyes on the screen. The situation wasn't dangerous. It was embarrassing, catastrophically embarrassing. And the knowledge of that humiliation spreading in real time made the room feel tighter than the walls allowed. Jungkook's workout was over. The night was over. But the moment had only just started collapsing. The guard finally stepped in front of Jungkook, not blocking him exactly, just placing himself there like a human marker that said this ends now. But the room refused to cooperate. Someone near the mats let out a nervous snort that wasn't a laugh, but sounded like one, and it ricocheted off the walls with humiliating clarity. A girl by the fountain muttered, "Oh my God, stop!" But her friend had already swiped up to zoom, thumb trembling, phone angled too obviously toward his face. A man in compression shorts tried to walk toward the exit to look normal, and ended up stumbling over a jump rope, arms flailing like he was performing for a camera he didn't know was pointed at him. A cluster of teens near the lockers shifted closer without meaning to, drawn in by the tension or the absurdity or the chance to be the first to leak the moment. One of them whispered, "Just leave." But it wasn't clear if he meant Jungkook or the guard or himself. Jungkook moved at last, a small step forward, and instantly 3 people stepped back, one tripping over the bench, another dropping her headphones with a plastic clatter that made her wince. Phones were everywhere now, half hidden, half exposed, blinking awake with that soft, incriminating glow. The guard's voice came out tight. "Sir, please." No authority, just pressure. Jungkook didn't lift his head all the way, just enough that a girl caught his profile and inhaled too sharply, drawing attention she didn't want. Someone whispered, "This looks so bad." And another whispered back, "Why was he even—" But neither finished because the air felt too thin for conclusions. The night had stopped being a workout and become a malfunction, and nobody knew how to walk away without becoming part of the footage. The exit finally lit up, automatic sensor catching movement it couldn't parse, and the sudden white glare sliced across the hall, exposing every face, every phone, every angle people had tried to hide. Someone cursed under their breath. Someone else said, "Don't post it yet." Like that meant anything now. The guard gestured again, sharper this time, and Jungkook stepped toward the door. One measured stride that made the crowd lurch backward in a crooked wave. Bodies knocking, sneakers scraping. A girl's elbow catching another girl's ribs hard enough to make her yelp. A boy near the vending machine lifted his phone fully now. No hesitation. And the red dot blinked in the reflection of the plexiglass as if announcing the point of no return. The automatic door hiccuped, slid halfway, jammed, then opened the rest of the way with a mechanical groan that sounded almost like embarrassment. Jungkook walked through it without pausing, but the hall didn't release him. People followed with their eyes, their phones, their half-formed questions hanging in the air like static. Someone whispered, "He really got kicked out?" And the words spread quick, uneven, landing wrong on every ear that caught them. The guard stayed planted in the doorway, blocking anyone from trailing after, but it didn't matter. The moment was already loose, already alive, already leaving the building faster than any of them could. The last thing the crowd saw was Jungkook's back disappearing into the fluorescent corridor. No hood, no disguise, no narrative to soften it. Just a silhouette walking away from a place he was never supposed to be in. And even after he was gone, no one moved. No one cleaned up the bottle, or the headphones, or the jump rope. They just stood there, staring at the door like it might reopen, all of them thinking the same thing, and none of them daring to say it out loud. "What was he doing here?"